Well, welcome back, everyone. Yeah, that's right. I get to review Call of Duty Vanguard. Now, I was actually going to start this video off in a really funny way. I was going to pretend to read a really nasty message, kind of just full of bitterness and all sorts of stuff that kind of describes my hate for Call of Duty Vanguard, and kind of make it seem like it was forced into doing this review. That didn't happen because I hate Vanguard that much. So of course, Call of Duty Vanguard is tonight's review. Yeah, so after this, I get to review the other Call of Duties I like. This was actually a video I wanted to do since like June actually, and like not even before that. So Call of Duty Vanguard came out in 2021, and well, safe to say it's not a very well-liked game. Now, Call of Duty Vanguard ran into trouble even before it released, as many wanted Activision to kind of just not release one that year because of the disaster that Cold War's launch was, and also kind of Modern Warfare. I mean, at that time it was kind of common for a Call of Duty game to come out, piss off everyone, and then a few weeks later it's apparently the best Call of Duty game ever. Vanguard wasn't that. Except for like one or two people. Okay, enough crapping on Vanguard. I mean, that's already happened enough. So, Call of Duty Vanguard was developed by Sledgehammer and released on pretty much every console aside from the Switch. So, of course, Call of Duty Vanguard takes place during World War II, focuses on a couple of soldiers, and has a kind of interesting story. The game pretty much starts in like the final parts of World War II. This group of soldiers, they're looking for something. Their mission goes right and they end up captured. And for like the rest of the game, they're pretty much we get to learn about what they did before they got there. And the game focuses on four characters. Obviously, we have Arthur, Paulina, Lucas, and Wade. Each of them have their own little story that gets told. And that's where it is interesting, but that's where it fails. It's interesting because oh, this kind of goes back to what Call of Duty used to do. Like, let's take Finest Hour for example. Finest Hour has three campaigns: one in North Africa, another one in Russia, and the final one in Germany. None of them really connect to each other aside from the fact that they're about the same war. And it's kind of like that with Vanguard. Like, none of these stories really connect to each other. They're just what they were doing before this. It's not a bad idea. It's just the bad idea comes from the fact that, well, there's seven missions. And that means they're gonna have to divvy up screen time between four characters. Now, everyone except for Arthur gets like two missions, and even then, that's not really enough. Like, uh, Weed's missions, they're kind of boring. Just I don't really like I really just don't like those missions in general. I mean, they're interesting. They have some really fun moments. It's just gameplay wise, they're kind of a bit boring. Polina's same thing. Arthur's just actually pretty good. I really wish that we saw more of his stuff. Same thing with Lucas's. I think both of the missions were actually pretty fun and had some really interesting moments in them. But the issue comes with the fact that Vanguard only has 9 missions, and that's really bad. And two of those missions are about them getting captured and them escaping, with the remaining seven being let's just basically tell a life story. Now, Battlefield 1 and 5 actually do this too, but at the same time, Battlefield 1 and 5, like, they're much longer games, and they have more focus on the areas that they cover. Like, for example, so far in Battlefield 5, we have a part set in Norway, we have a part set in France, Germany, and then, of course, North Africa. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. The game, like Vanguard, focuses on different parts of World War II, but they're much longer, so it kind of has a better chance at focusing on them and actually telling that interesting story that it wants to tell. And Vanguard clearly wants to tell that story. And I gotta give it credit because, oh, Vanguard does some interesting things. Like, gameplay wise, it's sort of decent. I mean, you already know what you're gonna get with a Call of Duty game, but it's just story wise, Vanguard falls flat. But that's really enough about the campaign. So, I guess what about the other modes? I mean, we got multiplayer, which was very unpopular, according to like a lot of people. I really only played a few rounds in multiplayer, and yeah, I agree. The only multiplayers I haven't played have been Black Ops 1, 2, and War at War. So take my opinion with a grain of salt. But compared to like other multiplayers, Vanguard kind of sucks. I mean, it's not as bad as Black Ops 3 and not as forgettable as Modern Warfare 1 and 2, the newer ones. The classics were pretty good. But Vanguard's multiplayer is just uninteresting. Zombies, I've heard mixed things about. Zombies actually does seem fun. I can't say much about it because I haven't really played much of it, but I definitely would not mind giving it a try sometime. Then we have Warzone. Warzone was well, it's a free, so it's not really part of the game, but considering that the game does use maps from other COD games, I'd say Warzone kind of should be talked about in this video. Um, it seems like Warzone is fairly popular, but then again, I mean, I don't think people would. I don't think people minded because it was free. But so obviously, why did Vanguard fail? And is it worth playing? Frankly, it's not really worth playing. If you're gonna play World War II Call of Duty, just get World War II, get World at War, get Call of Duty 2 or 3. You're gonna have a much better time with those. Same for World at War Fighter Incident, or just get Battlefield 5, or any other World War II game. There's like 1,000 of those. Um, it's easy to tell why it's hated. I mean, Vanguard came out at the worst time. This was during when COVID was still a thing. Well, it still is, but this was when COVID was really bad still. And so releasing a game that got affected during the pandemic. Not the best idea, not to mention it's also going up against other games that were being released at the same time. And considering Black Ops Cold War's botch launch, it's safe to say there was some ire with Call of Duty. I mean, the last few COD launches at that point were very controversial with Black Ops 4, Modern Warfare 19, and Black Ops Cold War just being buggy at launch or just being flat out broken in some cases. So that's obviously causing some hate for Vanguard. Not to mention Sledgehammer. They're very controversial. I like Sledgehammer, but it's hard to deny that Sledgehammer has really not been so popular, which kind of sucks because they've clearly made some really good games, but Vanguard was just a dud. Either way, I will of course be back next time with a Mass Effect video, so stay tuned for that one. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful night, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.